Hi, I'm Alice and I'm going to show you how to make some DIY hand-sewn scrunchies. So you can also use a sewing machine, but you can also sew it with your hands and needle and thread. So scrunchies are really easy to make, and you can create it with like any style you want, and technically it's just a piece of fabric over an elastic band or a string of elastic. So you can tie it up in your hair, and it's also really easy to pull back out, and it doesn't get knotted in your hair. And hand sewing may take about 20 to 30 minutes to make a scrunchie, and using a sewing machine will take only 5 minutes. But hand sewing is really good as well, because even though it takes a lot of time, you don't need a sewing machine to do it. So the things you need is a pencil, a pair of scissors, some hair ties, like some plain hair ties, elastic ones, and you also need some fabric. You can buy them from the store, or you can also use old fabric from like clothing, but it's better if it's thin, like not too thick materials, or it'll be hard to sew it. You also need some thread and a needle. So it's better to use thread that matches with the color of the fabric. So I'm going to use white because black will be a little bit too dark, and it will be easier to see through this fabric, which is like light colors. So we have a needle too. Okay, so with the measurement of your scrunchie, to make it like this size, or like kind of puffy like this, you just need 11 centimeters by 32 centimeters. So use your ruler and pencil to mark a line to 10 centimeters as the width, and with the length you can do 32 centimeters. It might be a bit hard to draw, especially if you have a 30 centimeter ruler, but you just draw all the way to the end, and then that line you can cut on. So let's just put this back. You have your scissors and you can cut it. Make sure to have sharp scissors, because if they're like a bit blunt, or like the paper cutting scissors, it might be a bit hard to cut through the fabric. And then you just cut this bit. It's okay if it isn't perfect because the sewing will mainly be in the inside. So you can put your fabric away, oops, for now. And then you have your fabric here. Now, if you want the fancy side or the patterned side to be in front, like this one, make sure that you, when you're sewing on this bit where it's facing the outside, because then we'll turn it inside out, and then the sewing will go on the inside and the patterned bit side will go on the outside. So you get your elastic band, make sure it fits your size, and if you have a lot of hair, get a really elasticy one, like a really stretchy one. So these ones are really stretchy and they're good for making scrunchies. So you just need something round, like a container or like a plant pot. Make sure it fits the size of the hair tie. If it's too big, then you can get something smaller. Okay, so the hair elastic fits around this, and then we'll just put the fabric around like this. So it's facing the right way right now, but we'll flip it. Well, not really flip it, but we'll fold it around here. This part might be a bit hard, but you just fold it around. Like this. You don't have to put it, if you're using a sewing machine, you don't have to put it on a round thing like this. You can just try to put it around the elastic band and put it into the sewing machine. Sew it around the edges here. But if you're hand sewing it, then you can do it this way. Okay, now you get your needle. And try to estimate how much thread you'll need. So we'll need like around here and a bit extra to sew that bit. Okay, so I think this will be enough. We'll use our scissors to cut this bit. Oops, and then try to put the thread through the needle. Okay. So pull this bit long so that when you're sewing it doesn't fall out and you'll have to put it in again. So I just pull this thread over here. Okay, so we'll start this way. And give like a little space here so that where you also Oh, oops. Just remember to tie a knot at the end, because then it will, when you pull it, it will fall out. So make sure the knot is actually big enough, so that it will stay. So you might have to tie it a few times. So this will be big enough. Okay, let's just do it again. Okay, so if there's a knot inside the thread, just try to get it out like that, so it doesn't knot up inside when you're sewing. Make sure to do it tightly and pull it all the way to the end, so that it doesn't get too loose, and yeah. So it will take about 10 to 20 minutes to sew this bit. Try to make sure these two edges match up so that it's even. It will be easier to sew with thinner fabrics, and fabrics with thicker, that's thicker and maybe has other sequins and sparkles on it. It will be a bit harder to sew, as the needle will have to push through it more. Okay, so I finished sewing around the edge of the scrunchie, and I have a lot of thread left over, and we'll use that later. So just so tie a knot. Don't cut the thread yet, but okay, so find a loop here and put the needle through. Oops. And then now it's created another loop, and put that through the loop. And the first one a few times to create a knot. Make sure the knot is tight enough so you can do it a couple more times if you need to. Okay, so you can cut near the knot there. Oops. Okay, now you have your inside out scrunchie. Just carefully take it out of the round thing, and now you just have to turn it inside out. How you do that is you just get a side and turn it a bit inside out like that, and bring some of the fabric that's inside out and push it into that hole. Be careful not to pull it too hard, as the thread might break, especially if it's really thin, and that's the reason why you have to make sure the thread is tight enough Okay, that will be a bit hard. Yeah, this is the hardest part of making a scrunchie, but it isn't too hard to do. It just takes a little bit of time. Okay, now I have this. So it isn't a scrunchie yet, but now as you pull all the inside out fabric inside here, you go to the other side and pull it out. The ending bit is a bit hard, but you pull out the most. Okay, there, you have a scrunchie. Now you just have to sew these two bits together. So where the thread is, like inside, make sure you put that into the outside of the scrunchie, and then these two will match together. So you get your remaining piece of thread, and tuck one of the the sides of the fabric inside the other one. So it will be a bit thick to sew on, but that's fine. So you just do the same thing like you did before, but it will just be really thick. And tie the knot at the end, like last time. It'll be a bit hard to pull out the needle, but it's really short, but it will just take a little bit of a long time. If your hands get sweaty, then you can just do many of the loops before you pull the needle out, so it will take less time. Okay, it's a bit knotted here. Okay, that's good. I just have to pull the second bit out. Okay, just one more. If it's too thick to sew it here, you can also use a hot glue gun to do it, and of course you can also use a sewing machine, which is a good idea to sew for this thick part. Okay, now when you're finished, you can make the knot like before. Just create a loop. Do it a few more times to make sure it's tight enough. Okay, now you just cut this off. Oops. And then you have your scrunchie. Let's trim that. Okay. If this bit is a bit poking out, you can just push it in like that and pull the rest of the fabric out. Okay, you have your scrunchie now, and it's really easy to make, and you can also make many more scrunchies with different sizes. So for this size, or these ones, it's 11 centimeters times 32 centimeters. If you want to make it more puffy, then just maybe do more than 11 centimeters, depending on how big you want it to be. And if you want to make it more thinner, make it more like less. And if you want it to be like more scrunched up, like a bit more scrunched, then make it a bit longer than 32 centimeters. So I tried creating this one with a different elastic band than these two. So with this one I use this, which is good for like smaller scrunchies, and with these two I used this one, which is like larger. So even though this is a bit small, it's really stretchy, and how the fabric stretches is mainly from the elastic band. So you can choose the length of the elastic band, make it like, if you want a big scrunchie, make it get a big elastic band. So I hope you like making scrunchies, and you can also create them with different patterns and fabrics too. Thank you, and please like this video and subscribe to Alice Lucy Utopia.